you and I go way, way, way back.
Yep.
And we'll go back to this beautiful summer of 2004. We are both high school seniors. We're both getting looked at for the draft, blah, blah, blah. I get a phone call from an area scout and says, hey, the Pittsburgh Pirates want to see you. I'm like, okay. They're like, in Pittsburgh. So I'm like, I'm 17. My dad's like, I guess we got to fly to Pittsburgh, right? This is like the day of my high school graduation. I end up missing that, whatever. But we go and we show up to PNC Park. And I didn't know this ahead of time. I don't know what they told you, and I'll let you talk about it. But I show up to the park, and it's just me and you.
Yeah.
And essentially it was like a battle to the death who's going to be the 11th pick in the 2004 draft. Local boy Neil Walker or West Coaster T. Plouffe. And we had this awesome day. I'll never forget it.
Yeah,
like you and I were like buddies. Like we're just chumming it up. Like, isn't this cool? Like we're on this big league field. And it's such a funny thing to look back now because obviously they ended up picking you. They made the right decision. You've had an unbelievable career, especially in Pittsburgh. But there's one detail that I love sharing with people about the story. And it is, I see you come up to hit batting practice. You walk out, and this, you don't use wood bats a lot. At least I didn't up until then. But you have to wear batting gloves with wood bats. At least I had to. You walk up, and I see something on your hand. I'm like, what are you wearing? It's a leather gardening glove, and you only have one on. And that was your batting gloves. Can you tell, like, what was that about? Was that like, did you always do that, or
that was intimidation, Trev?
Yeah. That was me
insane.
saying, hey, West Coast homeboy, you're on my turf now.
I just need everyone to picture this, dude. Like you came out of the dugout with one gardening glove on to hit batting practice.
No, you know what the truth was? Is I blew out a couple pairs of batting gloves. You know how it was in high school. You had a couple pairs of batting gloves, and I remember being like, "Oh no, what am I gonna do? I got gigantic holes in these batting gloves." And I'm looking around, and I'm like, "These might suffice. I can wrap these around my wrist."
Oh my gosh.
But
that's really funny, man.
Like we were talking about, though, no joke. If somebody could be a fly on the wall during that day, it was unbelievable. Like, so you in the West Coast Scouts were essentially patrolling the first base corridor, and me and the East Coast Scouts were like patrolling the third base corridor, and then like the GM and the assistant GM and the cross checkers were like right behind the batting cage, and they bring in a guy to pitch to us. We take BP, we take ground balls. I throw to you at second from the catcher's position, and then we take some live BP. And every time somebody would leave the cage, you go back, and it would be like like you went after a boxing match. Somebody was like rubbing our shoulders, like, "Hey man, nice job. Hey, keep going." You know what I mean? And what are you gonna do? We're 17 years old, 18 years old at that time, and we're out there. Just like, what is going on here? These grown men are telling us, making is sitting there just judging us to the nth degree, and we're just out there trying to have fun. Fortunately, between you and I, we've always had a great relationship, but that was when it kind of blossomed, because it was, if we didn't like each other, that would have been a miserable day.
we had a lot of fun. Now that I think back on it, like, I'm nervous for myself thinking back on it, but at the time I wasn't nervous at all. We were just kind of having a good time playing baseball.
Right.
And these guys, like you said, were like checking us out, grading us, doing whatever they do.
Right.
And it's just you and I, two little idiots on the field, just like, this is awesome. We're playing on a big league park. Like, who cares where we get drafted?